Hi everyone, welcome back to the Stitches and Scribbles channel. My name is Erin and I am here today ready to do my last pair of Taylor Swift socks, at least for now. Hoping for another album at some point in the future. But the album that I still have yet to complete in my Taylor Swift sock series is Reputation. So I think it is time to start it today. Here is the idea for the Reputation socks. I kind of thought about this for a really long time before settling on a final idea. And I debated doing like really textured socks with lots of like stitch work going on. I debated what colors to use and all that stuff. But I eventually settled on that I don't think I actually want to do textured socks. I want to do Colorwork socks. So here is my main color. This is by Malabrigo. I forget what the colorway name was. It was something to do with a swamp. Very pretty, deep burgundy, kind of variegated colorway, tonal colorway, I guess. Ranging from black to a light burgundy in some small spots. And with this deep of a colorway, I knew that whatever I did as my contrast color for Colorwork was going to have to be pretty light. So I ended up choosing this leftover beige yarn. You'll recognize it from my All Too Well socks. This was the main color for those socks. And I thought that that would provide enough color contrast for a sock pattern. And then I thought about the songs on the Reputation album, the lyrics for everything. I thought about trying to do snakes, but that didn't quite fit with these colors. But I realized that one of the songs on the album that was actually initially one of my favorites, even though I think my mind has changed over the years, one of my initial favorites on the album was King of My Heart. And I thought that this would look really stunning in a crown motif, where the crown is kind of going around the leg of the sock, and then the rest of the sock can just let this beautiful tonal colorway shine. So here's the plan. I have created a little Colorwork chart for myself so that I can make the crown kind of go around the upper leg of the sock, just underneath the ribbed cuff. And after that, it'll be kind of vanilla socks. The other thing that I want to try this time, since I've had some issues with Colorwork in the past, is I want to try flipping my sock inside out to knit the Colorwork, because I saw somewhere that that helps relax your floats so that they're not so tight, and since it is going on the leg of the sock, I don't want it to be too tight. So I think that's going to be the method that I try for these socks. But for today, I'm just going to get started with a normal stretchy cuff. So let's get that going. Alright, I have finished my ribbed cuff and done a few rows of stockinette. The chart that I ended up designing for the crown motif has a 5-stitch repeat, and I usually cast on 64 stitches for my socks. So I just did one knit through the front loop and the back loop increase on the first stitch of my round so that I'm up to 65. That way it'll divide evenly. So when I say knitting inside out, usually when you are working stitches, you're working closest to you and the work kind of loops around towards the back. If you're working inside out, if you flip it like so, then you're working on the stitches on the needle farthest away from you and the work loops in. This would probably be a little bit easier to see on DPNs than on Magic Loop, but that was actually how I used to knit before I learned that you're supposed to knit on the side facing closer to you. I used to do it backwards and then flip my work inside out afterwards. So we're going to try that for the Colorwork, and basically that means that the floats sit on the outside of your work, so they end up getting stretched out a little bit more than if they were sitting on the inside. So let's give it a try. the Colorwork crown. I love how these are looking, and I think the really high contrast between the beige and the burgundy looks so fun. I just love how these are turning out. I think that these are going to look super cute, like poking out of boots, but I absolutely love this design. So unfortunately, the rest of the sock's going to be a little boring from a filming perspective, but I really wanted that burgundy tonal yarn to shine, so the rest is going to be vanilla socks. I am doing a heel flap and gusset sock. I use the SOS sock pattern by Summer Lee for my sock base, and I've been using it since I started making socks, and I really like it. So I'm just going to continue with that. I did do 40 rows total for the leg under the cuff and 10 rows of ribbing. The chart took up 11 rows, so that's why my first marker is in the last row of the crown. So that was 10. Wait, yeah. Hold on. What was it? Yeah, I had 10, 20, 30, 40 underneath the pin. I forgot how to count there for a second, but I'm going to keep working on these socks. I managed to finish the whole first sock yesterday. I've only been working on this pair of socks for 3 days now, I think. Still think the color work looks amazing. I'm glad I kept the rest of the sock really simple so that it can stand out. And I already started the next sock as well. I did this color work while sitting on the couch and watching a TV show last night, and it was simple enough that I could keep up with it and memorize it and not really have to look at the chart. I just looked at my first sock and I think it turned out great. I'm taking these on the road today to work on in the car while we go visit some family members, so I'll make sure to bring my camera with me and try to get a clip as I make a little bit more progress. Alright, here are the finished socks. I think they turned out really awesome. I love this deep red color. I love the little crown. I think that this will hit just at the right height so that they stick out of my Doc Marten boots that I wear all the time. And I think that's just gonna look awesome. I know that these were the simplest, socks that I did for this series, but I'm still really happy with how they turned out, and I think in this case for this yarn, making a simpler choice was definitely the way to go. I have really enjoyed working on this series. It feels weird that this is the last pair of socks in my Taylor Swift sock series, at least for now. We might get another album at some point. But it does kind of feel nice to have the series completed as well. So if you've been watching along since the beginning, thank you so much for watching. And if this is the first one that you found, make sure you check out the playlist on my channel for all of the other Swiftie sock episodes. And that's going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw today, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to be notified of my content on other social media platforms, that information is in the description box. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye everyone.